Today, your favorite PlayStation podcast looks back on our favorite console family, the PlayStation. We've got hardware, games, and more because this is PlayStation with Power. Welcome to PlayStation with Power, a name I did not think through, your weekly source for PlayStation and video game news, reviews, and deep dive discussions. I'm Zachary Davis, and beside me here is Jordan Carlson. And if you like what we do, help us grow by hitting that subscribe button, leaving us a comment about PlayStation, and following us on social media at Pod with Power. All the links you need are in the description below. Jordan, you're a big PlayStation fan.
Yeah.
And this is a PlayStation podcast we have done for coming up to a year now. Mm-hmm. And if you're watching for the first time, you're probably thinking, this is odd. They're a PlayStation podcast. Why is their topic PlayStation history today? And we don't know. We just thought it'd be a good time, a good opportunity to talk about that. Tell us about your PlayStation fandom.
My PlayStation fandom. Wow. My gosh.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, PlayStation to me was always the untouchable, to be honest.
Okay.
I did not have one.
Okay.
It was in my older sister's room.
Sure. But you're a big fan.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
You could say I'm a fan.
Yeah. At what point do we give up the bit?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do we just play it through? I don't know.
Oh man, we could just see it through. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a fan for sure, you know.
Definitely.
But I have to say, out of everything, like if we're talking even emulation, I think PlayStation's the last thing I think about.
Really?
Like
Okay.
ever, yeah.
Yeah.
But
is it that original PlayStation, or is it just kind of the whole? Because like I think of it as a whole.
Yeah.
Unlike Nintendo, which we don't talk about too much here, but unlike Nintendo, where I feel like there were clean breaks between generations and hardware.
Yeah.
I don't think of PlayStation that way.
don't
I just
really
kind of think of it as
actually.
one big thing.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting, right?
You
Isn't
what?
that weird? I just think of it as like one big thing.
I mean, do you think of Xbox any differently?
Yes and no. I do feel like there's a clean break between 360 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
But I don't really think there is between like Xbox and 360 or Xbox One and Series S and X, right? Those kind of feel like they're kind of grouped together for me as well.
See, I would group together like PS3 and PS4 to me is like
Interesting. Okay.
doesn't even,
Sure.
I don't even know. And then PlayStation 2 is really the only place I started paying attention. I have memory of PS1 and there's a couple of games I really liked, but like
Okay.
they don't mean a lot to me. They don't really mean a lot to me,
Sure. That's fair. I mean, I think the thing for me is like you can't get away from PlayStation. Basically since it's come out, it has dominated. Like it's kind of faltered here and there. I think the PS3 era probably the most. But you pull up the list here of best-selling video game consoles, and apparently PlayStation 2 is still sitting at the top of that list at 160 million because they found a couple more sales a year or so ago. But it's up there. And I mean, you look at the top 10 and yeah, PS2 is in there, PlayStation 4 is in there, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 3. So all of the home consoles are in the top 10 best-selling video game consoles of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get away from this thing.
No.
Right? Like even the PSP, which famously was an emulation machine. You kind of mentioned some emulation there.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of a problem with the piracy on the PSP.
Oh man, you could say that. Fucking
and that thing sold 80 million units, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't sell you any games on it because everybody just stole them. But they certainly sold a lot of hardware. You think about the PSP owners you knew when we were teenagers. How many games do you think they owned?
Well, not a lot, man. I had like 4, but
Mm-hmm.
I had like
I had
4.
one. I had not Touch My Katamari. That was the Vita one. What's the Me and My Katamari? Is that the PSP one?
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I believe that is the only UMD I had. Remember those crazy things?
I do remember
UMD?
UMD. Yep.
Yeah, they had that little case. That
And
was
that
weird.
janky little fucking slide. You'd open that thing up, dude.
Yeah.
Especially both models, doesn't matter if you had the slim or you had the original.
Yeah.
That thing opened like a toaster. Like that thing, it did not like you. It's like, and you're like, okay, it just goes.
I know. It's a
slam it
miracle
shut.
more people didn't break that thing off, because I did. I felt precarious, and like I said, I had one game to put in there, and I felt precarious opening it up.
Dude, it was a mechanism, that thing, like how
Yeah.
that thing opened up. I'm actually kind of mad. I sold my, I had a slim. I sold it at a garage sale a couple of years ago, and I kind of regret it. I wish I wouldn't have done that, because they do sell for a lot of money now. Not to say that I would sell it for more money. I'm just saying it'd be hard for me to get another one.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I go through that kind of feeling a lot.
Oh
Where I'm
gosh.
like, man, I wish I had that thing, but like I don't want to drop the money to get it.
No, and to be honest with
You
you, it's not like I'm really going to be diving into that thing. It's just I like that. I liked what it was, but again, I'm not a huge Sony fan. I'm not a huge Sony gaming person. Like that's not where my nostalgia comes from. But I mean, I did love the PSP. So despite all the sarcasm opening up, I have to say I actually think the PSP was probably the biggest area that I really explored with PlayStation, I think.
Okay, well, that was going to be my next question to you is, of the 5 home PlayStations and the 2 portable ones,
Yeah.
which is your favorite?
Ooh, my favorite.
Is it the PSP? It doesn't necessarily have to be the best, but just your favorite.
It's so funny too, because so my list that I have over here, I forgot about the PSP completely. So I didn't even think about this before. Because what I was gonna tell you, it was kind of a split. Because like I told you, I blend a couple of those together.
Sure.
I was going back and forth between the PS4 and the PS2 for my favorite.
Yeah, I think you can make a good case for either one.
But I think ultimately, if I was being honest about my involvement with the PlayStation, it would have to be PS4. But the PSP, that might have to take the cake for me.
It was pretty cool, man. Like,
yeah,
it was.
I mean, because let me see. It kicked
the crud out of the DS graphically.
I mean, it did. And also, dude, online was so much fun. I had Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories. And one of our mutual friends and I would play the online all the time. And it was so much fun playing, like being in that world together. It was the first like really substantial multiplayer experience that I had at a younger age.
Yeah.
I did, I had friends that had Xboxes, the original Xbox, and we play Halo and all that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I didn't personally own anything that was capable of that. So the PSP was actually the first place that I experienced online gaming. Yeah. It was obviously local, but
Yeah. I am looking out of curiosity at Metacritic's top rated PSP games, and Liberty City Stories is there at number 8, an 88 on Metacritic. So is Chinatown Wars, which I don't think of as a PSP game. It did, of course, come to PSP later, but I believe it was exclusive to the DS when it launched. But the one for me, it's I think in the right spot here at number 1, God of War: Chains of Olympus on the PSP. The 2 PSP God of War games are awesome. Way better than they have any right to be, And I think that was for the best PSP games, because there was a lot of trash there. There was a lot of third party and licensed trash on there. But the great PSP games like Metal Gear Peace Walker, which is also here, I mean, it's incredible what they were able to do with that.
Yeah. With
one analog nub and
dude, that thing, man. Yeah. Holy shit. Just a little slider. Yeah. A little circle, man.
It's funny talking about the hardware and how janky it was.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think about that until we started talking here.
I mean, was it like much different than see like the 3DS and the 3DS has at least the indent for the circle pad, right?
Yeah.
The little pad.
Yeah, the PSP one I almost think is rounded.
It
like a DualShock like that.
Well, no, it's like, oh my gosh, man, I need to look up a photo, I think.
Yeah, I don't recall. But
I
it always moved more than I thought it would. It always went further than I expected it to.
Oh, no, I'm remembering this thing right. Yeah, this thing barely, you're right. It had some distance, but no, it was not like curved. It was like a little flat textured circle.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, man, I really did enjoy this thing though. I loved all the colors that it eventually came out into. It's never lucky enough to have a different colored one, but
there were some cool special edition ones. There was a cool like Star Wars one. I forget which Star Wars game it came with, but it had like Darth Vader on it, right?
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Let me take a look at that.
You know, the PSP, while we're diving down, actually, you know what? These are more affordable than I thought. There's one for like $95 on eBay.
Yeah, not bad.
But so the PSP is actually what kickstarted my love for handheld devices. That was the first thing I ever modded, like software modded.
Yeah.
It was the first thing I ever hardware modded. I did a dual stick mod for one a long time ago. Mm-hmm. Shell swaps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember playing around with like IR because it had an IR receiver. Dude.
Yeah.
I remember changing and having it so like downloading different like Toshiba and Sony device IR codes and just fucking with the teachers in school, like projectors, turning them on. Yeah. Like, oh my God. That thing like unlocked me in a weird way.
Yeah, I think the PSP taught us a lot of things.
It did.
Because of what we knew it was capable of. I think you're right. It did kind of set us all on a path.
It did.
That we might not have been on otherwise.
No, I was like, I remember Daedalus, the N64 emulator for PSP. Sure. And like just seeing, it was like laggy as hell, but like getting that thing set up and being like, this is possible. I remember thinking I could play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask portably. I was so stoked, but like it was so far away from being a real thing,
Yeah. There's something with, and I might have got this from you. There was something with like the battery.
You
could make like a crazy battery.
No, it was called the Pandora's battery.
Yeah.
That's how you hack them.
To like unlock something. I think you supplied me with one.
I did
to hack my PSP.
Dude, I used to build them. So like you'd flash a card and then flash the software on a battery, and that's how you software modded those consoles. You would unlock them effectively, so you could do custom UIs. You could load all types of homebrew. Dude, learning how to create that was a staple for me. I was like, no way, I'm good at this.
No, that was crazy. Looking at some of the PSP games here, which again, maybe not what everybody used their PSP for, but like Luminous, Wipeout was great. We mentioned Metal Gear. I always like Pursuit Force, the one where you were jumping from car to car. My brother had like a little poster of that, it was like a tiny little poster, but it was in his room. It was almost like a postcard. Patapon, of course, Daxter. Yeah, the PSP had some good stuff, some memorable stuff. And they're starting to put some of that on whatever. We should know this. We're a PlayStation podcast. PlayStation Plus. On the classics they're starting to make some of those available with that subscription, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
That there is at least a way to play those. You mentioned, though, as contenders for you, I want to start with the PS4, which I think it's not my favorite, but I think I would make the argument it is the best PlayStation in terms of its library.
PS4.
Its first party library. Yeah, the PS4.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like, because not only, obviously, it's hard for some of them to split hairs between the PS3 because you think about, like remasters like Last of Us, obviously. For the PS4. And then again for the PS5. The PS3 had, I feel like the PS3 started this like lineage of games. Like there's so many just heavy hitters. And I know God of War was PS2 where it started.
Yeah,
but like I really feel like got its swing on the PS3, right?
Yeah. So, and there's a reason that you remember it that way. So, full disclosure, my favorite PlayStation is the PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Fucking love the PlayStation 3. Still love the PlayStation 3. It's hooked up right now. I have two of them actually, and I love it. And if the PlayStation 4 was the console that got everything right, the PlayStation 3 was the exact opposite of that. There was so much hubris going from the PS2, which of course was a massive success, like we talked about.
Yeah.
And they, I think, thought they could do no wrong. They got on stage and they said, this thing's going to be, we're going to offer two models. They're going to be $500 and $600 in 2006, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if you want one, you can get a second job. That's what they said at E3. And of course, people didn't react very positively to that. And so PlayStation 3 really struggled out of the gate, and they eventually got there, right? I hate this revisionist history because everyone talks about how, they had a rough start, but they won the generation. Not really. They won it after the PS4 was out and after the 360 stopped production. They kept selling them in like Brazil and stuff, and that's great. But I don't really consider it having won the generation. Plus the Wii blew them both out of the water. So, But anyway, the PlayStation 3, because they were behind for so long, they had to really make up some ground. So they made that great slim PS3, which is still one of, I think, the best looking consoles ever, if not PlayStations ever. And they were just pumping out first party games. Like every month there was a new first party game. They didn't all hit, but a lot of them did. And they really started the HD remaster. That was, I kind of attribute that to PlayStation. And the big one for me was God of War Collection.
Okay.
Which was God of War 1 and 2 in HD on the PS3. That is where I first played both of those games. And, so they released that, I think, the year before God of War 3. So it was just kind of this great, like, 1-2 punch of like, here, get caught up on these, and then boom, we'll give you the new one. And yeah, still one of my favorite franchises to this day. And I think that's a big part of why.
I need to play it. I keep putting it off. I need to do it.
Yeah. No, they're great. They're all great.
Dude,
we'll talk about some of them a little later, but
the PlayStation 3, thinking about that release. So I remember in 2006.
Yeah.
A guy that I was close to as a freshman, because I think I was a freshman.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
Was waiting in line for one at Best Buy.
Yeah.
And I think this predates our shenanigans for Black Friday.
It does, I believe.
Because I remember seeing him do this and I was like, that's pretty sweet. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
for those that don't know, because I don't think we've talked about it,
no.
We did used to camp in front of Best Buy for Black Friday for several years. We became a local staple.
We did. It was like 4 years straight. The news would come see us. There's some photos. We'll have to share one.
Yeah, I'll find some and put it in the video version here. But
one of our friends used to have the news clip, the video.
Yeah, I feel like I just saw it recently, actually. So I'll find it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But so we used to camp out for a week, by the way. Full week.
Yeah, by the end, we were getting a little crazy.
We were getting wild. But I mean, there were years where we had communities of people joining us. We were out cooking out of our tents. Man, those were the days. And
we live in Michigan, so it is cold.
It is cold.
It's harsh. That's okay.
But anyway, what I was getting at, so I remember my friends camping out, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And they're telling me it's $600. I'm like, $600?
Yeah.
And I had to Google it. I wanted to know what the equivalent of $600 was in 2006 to what that would be like today.
Okay.
Did you already do this?
No, I didn't.
What's your guess?
I don't know. I'm going to say, let's say 850.
972.57.
Honestly, I thought 9 was going to be too high. Wow.
God, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine paying almost $1,000 for a console? Holy shit.
Well, I mean, we're going to in a couple years, I think, but I think we're pretty close to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's what it was like back then. And it felt like such an unattainable thing.
Yeah. Just wild.
I never even considered getting one until they made the slim, and it had a massive price cut.
Yeah.
And even then, I think I got it bundled with Little Big Planet and one of the Ratchet and Clank games. So it was like a great deal when I got it. But yeah, I love the PS3. That's my favorite era. It's probably their biggest. Well, it's not their biggest misstep. Their biggest misstep is probably my second favorite PlayStation, and that's the Vita.
Yeah,
I love the Vita.
Yeah,
I love that thing. That was the Switch ahead of its time a little bit in a lot of ways, and yeah, it didn't execute everything perfectly. Memory for it was very, very expensive. It was all proprietary, so that sucked. But it was incredible, the power it had as a handheld. And we talked about the PSP compared to the DS. The Vita compared to the 3DS was night and day.
Yeah,
that was insane. Yeah, the Vita was a great little PlayStation that unfortunately did not succeed the way its older brothers did. But
I mean, the Vita was a gorgeous piece of tech too.
Yeah, that first one was an OLED screen too.
Yeah, like this thing is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a shame I had moved on from the PSP by that time. I don't remember what I was doing at the time, but yeah, this thing is sleek.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. Like, you have two very different eras of PlayStation. You know, when we were kids and they were kind of the alternative to Nintendo and Sega at the time, right? It was you, and I think our first episode talked about that Crash Bandicoot commercial.
Yeah.
Where he's yelling in front of the Nintendo building. They had an attitude about them, right? And they were pumping out some great games. I think though, they get maybe a little too much credit as far as their first party library. Yeah. You know, when we think about the first PlayStation, I mean, that's Final Fantasy VII, that's Metal Gear Solid, that's Castlevania, like all third-party games, which is fine. But I think now, and the PS3 era really started this, they started kind of doing their own thing and really putting a lot of talent and money behind their games. And you mentioned The Last of Us, which I think is an absolute masterpiece. And that kind of stuff started in the PS3 era. Uncharted was back then. You mentioned God of War, that trilogy was around that era. I think we're still seeing the effects of that kind of transition with their software.
No, I would definitely agree. I want to tell you my very first favorite PlayStation exclusive that was on the PS1.
Okay. Was it Medieval?
No.
Okay.
Good guess though. That was a good guess. That's a good guess.
You know what? It's not though, because I'd always heard how great this game was, and I tried to play the PS4 remake, and
it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I was like, wow, this is the remake, and this is like
it's pretty bad. But I mean, like, but it was fun at the time. I remember I had a good time playing.
Okay.
But yeah, see if you can. You may know this, may have learned this at some point, but I'm not sure.
One exclusive that Jordan likes. I don't know. I really don't.
It's one of my top. It's my favorite PlayStation 1 game.
Is there some fucking Bomberman PlayStation game that I don't know about?
Like, but it's just as bad.
Oh, okay. I really have no idea.
It's a beautiful little gem called Tom and Jerry House Trap.
How on earth was I was never gonna come up with Tom and Jerry House Trap. That's insane.
Oh, dude, it's so fun. It's so fun. Have you ever heard of this game?
No, I mean, I know Tom and Jerry.
Oh, Tom and Jerry.
I don't know.
That's a staple.
House Trap? Is that what it was?
House Trap.
Okay.
So you play as Tom and Jerry, of course. You go through the story mode and you unlock more places in the house, more rooms in the house.
Okay.
And you set the traps. There's like all these different, and you have to sneak. Like if the trap's been activated, you can sneak up to it real quick, R1, and then you'll like set the drying board. And when the other person runs in front of it, it falls on them and takes one of their hearts away. And you got to beat the shit out of each other until one of you perishes in the house.
Okay.
And it's so fun, man. One of our mutual friends and I used to just play relentlessly. And it was like,
that's interesting.
The classic split screen, you're like, you know where I'm hiding,
Okay. Yeah.
It was good. Sure. It was good.
It doesn't sound like quite like GoldenEye, but that's okay. You had fun with it.
It was riveting.
That's fine. I think, that's something that I think you can credit the PlayStation with is there were certainly licensed games before. we've talked about some of the Disney stuff that was on. Well, no, we haven't because we don't talk about Nintendo, but we could have talked about some of the Disney stuff that was on Nintendo and Super Nintendo and all that. But with kind of the advent of CDs and how cheap they were to produce, you were getting a lot of games on the PlayStation, a lot of games that might not otherwise exist, a lot of licensed stuff. To this day, I really love the first Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on the PS1.
It's a good game.
The PS1 Hagrid that you see in memes today. I there's something about that game. I got it for my birthday must have been 2001 when that movie came out. And I love it. It's not going to make my top. It's not a quality game necessarily.
Yeah.
Although it's not bad. I did revisit it a couple years ago. One that I played, was this last summer or the summer before? I played both PS1 Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
And man, they're rough around the edges, but they are fun. They have a lot of personality.
Dude, I love Spider-Man for the first Spider-Man Tobey movie. Yeah. I love that game. I love that game.
Yeah.
It's a solid one. Especially with all the extras. They put so much work into the extras for that game.
I know. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, I feel like we dissected that when you were, I think it was last summer, because I remember, I think we talked about it on the podcast, but like playing as Green Goblin post-game, going back, replaying as him.
Oh, you're talking movie
Toby.
PS2 Spider-Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like that game is incredible. I love it.
That was also great. Yeah. Well, and I think, the PS2 had some excellent licensed games.
Oh, man.
I think we've mentioned Simpsons Hit and Run and Road Rage recently. Spider-Man obviously is there. There was a lot of good Marvel stuff and movie stuff in general.
Yeah.
And stuff that has no business being any good. I have the Rocky PS2 game. Which would you pick up the Rocky PS2 game?
No.
Exactly. Do you like Rocky?
It's fine.
Okay, yeah, I love Rocky.
As a guy or like the movie?
The movie, the whole franchise. As a guy, I can take him or leave him, but I do really like Rocky, and the PS2 Rocky game is actually pretty cool. I'm not claiming you should run out and find a copy, but it's not bad.
What the fuck is this?
There was a great Rockstar made a Warriors game.
Okay.
For the PS2, right? Like we were getting some cool stuff back then. So I do want to kind of, while we're talking games, these maybe aren't necessarily going to be your favorites, but like when you talk about iconic PlayStation games, what do you think of? They don't necessarily have to be first party. Like I talked about the PS1 kind of being, I think, dominated by third party games.
Yeah. So when I think of PlayStation, what games do I think of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like what?
So I do think of Tom and Jerry House Trap. That comes to mind.
That's crazy.
That comes to mind. It comes to mind.
No, I mean that's fine.
It comes up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think of PsyOps, which is another game that I wanted to mention. I have this on. Where'd my list go? PsyOps, Cheese and Rice. The Mindgate Conspiracy. Yeah, that's the full title. Okay. That game was super cool. And PsyOps 2. And I brought that game up on the podcast before. I remember one of my friends had showed me that, and that like for some reason gives me like Dead Space feel of like something that I have never seen before, and just like different mechanics that I haven't seen in a game before.
Sure,
I loved it. So I think of PsyOps. I think of Tom and Jerry House Trap, like I said. But as we move up, because to be honest with you, again, do they
get good as we move up?
What's that?
As we get more modern, do they get good?
Maybe.
Okay.
But I mean, and I'm not going to mention like San Andreas because that's a big one too.
Of course, iconic. The
iconic.
GTA trilogy on PS2 is.
So I won't go too far into that, but like that San Andreas and Vice City come to mind. But I mean, like as you move into PS3, that's when I start to get like a little bit of intrigue, like where it's like Bloodborne. I remember
Bloodborne's PS4. But
PS4. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What am I thinking of on PS3 then?
Demon Souls was on PS3.
Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Well, we start to get into like the Soul style games. You know what I mean? Like
Well, even I guess Dark Souls is also PS3
That's the other one, Dark
originally.
Souls.
Yeah.
Which is so weird that I haven't thought of, but because now I'm thinking like Elden Ring. It's wild how many different types of games like that we have. But like I think of PlayStation now when any of those Soul style games come out because of Dark Souls. But I always think of PlayStation as like the place where you find those types of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think PlayStation did a lot of rewriting of history, especially the first PlayStation, because Final Fantasy was a Nintendo franchise. That's NES and Super NES, and then all of a sudden their deal falls through. They don't want to use cartridges, so they move to PlayStation, and then for years it's just a PlayStation franchise.
Yeah,
and those are some of the biggest, most popular games in the series. Well, and I think Street Fighter was kind of the same way. When I was a kid, and we had a mutual friend back then that I would go over to his place, and he had all of the games. He was an only child and had every game you could imagine. He had a Neo Geo. That's how many games this kid had. But I remember playing I think Street Fighter Alpha. Yeah. I remember playing Street Fighter Alpha with him on the PlayStation, and I just kind of assumed Street Fighter was a PlayStation thing. And again, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. So they did a good job, I think, early on, kind of taking Nintendo's lunch a little bit and be like, no, these are ours.
No, I mean,
you can have Banjo.
Absolutely. And there's one title I want to circle back on, because there's a huge one that I never got into that was just huge, but I'll come back to it. But like moving forward in the lifespan, so I'm looking at my list over here. So obviously we mentioned God of War. Now this is where I enter into like the PlayStation space as, I'm not going to say an adult, but like as a young adult.
I mean, I think of you as a PS2 guy, and I think of you as a PS4 guy.
Yeah, and a PS5 guy now, but like, but like moving into the space, I bought a PlayStation again only because of Uncharted and Spider-Man. Sure. Actually, I can't even say Uncharted. I bought it for Spider-Man, and then I was like, what do I do? Because it was on sale. It was a good sale.
Yeah.
And I got the Uncharted PlayStation, so it came with 4. And then you were like, dude, you should play the collection. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I borrowed that collection from you. Played Uncharted 4, loved it. Would love to play that again. And of course, Spider-Man came out, and then it was kind of a flood from there. The Last of Us, really enjoyed that. I think I played Resident Evil on it, which it didn't matter that it was on PlayStation, but I did.
Yeah. We're just glossing over Resident Evil as much as we talk about that on the show.
Yeah.
Resident Evil was a huge part of the early PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I always think of with PlayStation? It's almost like a ship that I missed, like I never got to experience, was Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
You know, just people talk about it with such, they really loved it. Like it was really, there was a huge, what am I trying to say? Like a huge,
it was a moment.
There was a huge fandom for it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Remember that commercial?
And I never got into it, but like people loved it, Yeah. Did you ever
still do? They won't shut up about it.
With the Keyblades and
the Keyblades. And when you walk away. Remember that?
No.
Okay, maybe I remember the commercial a little more than you do.
Kingdom Hearts.
The song's like Simple and Clean or something. It's the Kingdom Hearts commercial.
Simple
people
and
know.
Clean.
People out there know.
You nailed the title, because I just Googled it, and it Simple and Clean 2002 came up right away.
Yeah. I have played the first Kingdom Hearts. I have not played the other ones. I feel like I should at least play 2. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's Final Fantasy meets Disney, so like, can't really go wrong there. And I love me some Goofy,
Dude, love me some Goofy, and like honestly, I mean, I love me some Disney from time to time, just in general, like I do.
Yeah.
But I mean, people like, it's just when there's so much hype for something, I'm so interested, and like,
yeah,
it was always weird enough that I was like, I'm good, and just never touched it. But I'm wondering, like, this could be something where, like, will it ever come back? I wonder if it would, like
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
They announced a 4th one. There's been spin-offs and all that, but there's one in the works. I mean, I feel like there. And I think people think it could come out this year.
Man, that'd be crazy.
Like we'll get a formal announcement and it will come out. But Yeah. I would like, again, we're not going to harp on it because we don't talk Nintendo, but, they have the cloud version of the HD Kingdom Hearts games. I would like a real native HD version of those games on the Switch. That might make me play Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3. 3, of course, which I think has the full Let It Go scene from Frozen in it. Like just the full song. Elsa you just kind of watch.
Wow.
And she sings it to you. And I think Woody's there.
She sings it to you. Yeah. She delivers it.
Yeah, she does. I mean, come on. Idina Menzel kind of nails that song. You have to admit.
I mean, of course.
Yeah.
Credit where credit is due. But
yeah.
I don't need to sit there for the performance.
You do.
In the game.
4.5 minutes, however long it is.
4.5 minutes?
Just imagine that's the cutscene. It's just that scene from the movie. I think you need to try it at some point.
Maybe. Not that there's a problem with this, but Kingdom Hearts always felt like it was this dusty corner where there's a lot of like people nerdier than me, and I'm like, whoa,
That's true. I think it's a different kind of nerdy.
Yeah, and that's okay. We like that.
Yeah.
We like the nerds.
But I think you bring up Kingdom Hearts, and I think one of the things PlayStation has always been good about is there is always something interesting going on over there. And it could be Kingdom Hearts, it could be Metal Gear.
Love Metal Gear.
One I'm surprised we haven't mentioned is Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
That first Tony Hawk on the PS1 that launched a career. Launched a franchise.
I played it on N64.
Yeah, and I played it on the Game Boy Color. I mean, we make mistakes. That's okay.
Oh god.
But
do you remember pretending to have fun playing that on the Game Boy Color?
I do, and it was performative. I did really.
Oh.
I feel like we're kind of just talking games. I feel like I've glossed over some of mine. Early ones, Spyro the Dragon, which you have made fun of on this podcast, but I stand by Spyro the Dragon. That first one, and really all three of the PS1 Spyros are great 3D platformers.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
I don't know, man. Spyro, it reminds me of I feel like Croc, You remember Croc?
It's not Croc.
This is the second time I brought up Croc.
Yeah.
Spyro is a cousin game to me.
Spyro is so many steps above Croc. Even Gex. Gex is above Croc. Croc is low.
I liked Gex.
Yeah, but Croc is low. That's a low blow. You know it.
Gex is so funny because it's like a fever dream, that game. You're in the Titanic scene. You're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I know. They re-released those, and I would kind of like to play whichever one I played as a kid. I don't know which one. It was
probably the movie one. Gex, Enter the
Gecko. Yeah.
Enter the Gecko. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enter.
That was a blockbuster rental for me.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Were they big flower guys or something? Dude, that game was insane.
So the PlayStation, of course, had a lot of memorable games that we just keep kind of stumbling on. Now I'm thinking Tomb Raider was PS1. There's a lot of big stuff. But the kings of the PS1 were, I think, Spyro and Crash.
Yeah.
So who you got? Spyro versus Crash.
Oh, Crash. Oh, man. Man. I just never enjoyed
Crash the mascot. I really do.
I like Crash as a mascot. I liked Crash Team Racing more than I liked Crash Bandicoot.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never got into Crash Bandicoot. To me, because it came from Nintendo.
Sure.
And when I played Crash, I'm like, why are you making me run this way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It did. It kind of, yeah.
So that got me. I remember being like, oh, what's all this about? And then I'm like, I can spin and hurt the guys and I'm jumping. It was early Temple Run. I feel like Temple Run was like Crash. And it's I don't know, man. It's just, I didn't like being forced in that perspective. Where Nintendo, I was like, Nintendo's letting me run free over there.
Yeah.
And do my thing. You guys are making me go this way. I don't like it. So I never got into it. I never liked it.
Spyro was letting you run wherever you wanted to, by the way.
Spyro did, but
yeah.
Spyro also just, I don't know, man. It's like before, I feel like Banjo-Kazooie was an evolved fucking Spyro to me,
Yeah. Well, so while we're talking Crash and Spyro, though, I do want to bring up that those developers have been with PlayStation forever, right?
Yeah.
Those first games, not first-party PlayStation games. But then, Insomniac would go on to do Ratchet and Clank, Resistance Fall of Man. You mentioned Spider-Man. They also did Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox. And then Naughty Dog. You've got Jak and Daxter, which is one of my shout-outs, the first Jak and Daxter. And then Uncharted, Last of Us. And now we've got Intergalactic.
Yeah.
The Haircut Prophet on the way. We don't know a ton about that yet, but
can't wait.
I'm excited.
I love Naughty Dog, though. I do.
Yeah. So are you firmly... I think you're probably firmly a Last of Us guy over Uncharted, right?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think I am too. I really like all of their Uncharted games. I think I probably like 2 and 3 the most. But I think the first Last of Us is my favorite Naughty Dog game. I think pretty definitively.
I honestly can't choose. I really can't between them, because the second one is just incredible. I mean, I don't want to harp on this because I know we've already done it on the show, but the storytelling was just remarkable. It was just so good. And then the gameplay, obviously, in the first one was just so different. Something refreshingly... Yeah. It was like a refreshing take on the whole zombie apocalypse thing. Yeah. But man, oh man, my God, that story just great. One of the best stories in video games of all time.
Yeah, I truly wonder if we'll get another.
I hope so.
Game.
Well, you know what? I don't mind. I don't care if we do. I do hope, but I wouldn't be heartbroken if we left it. I think they always.
That's how I felt about the first one. I did. I was like, if this is it, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, because it's so good, and it's like, I feel like I can't remember when I was reading it, but it's like, if there's more story to tell than they want to tell it, I think there is more story to tell, especially with Abby. Like, we have to know now. I want to know what happens, in California. So, yeah, super curious, but at the same time, wouldn't be heartbroken if we just left it. It's fine, because, like you just said, we have Intergalactic coming our way, and maybe that's a new, fresh universe that we'll get to fall in love with. And I, as long as we keep getting those, if Naughty Dog could just keeps putting out these rich stories, like, I'm all in for it,
Yeah. Unfortunately, it takes them 8 years to do that. But,
and you know what? You take your time, Naughty Dog.
Yeah, that's fine. You're right. Take your time.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that coin, a studio that, not that they rush anything, but they definitely get things out at a much quicker clip, is Insomniac. And you mentioned Spider-Man.
Yeah.
One, we are both huge Spider-Man fans. Excited for Brand New Day coming out this summer.
Yes.
But and we even talked about how PlayStation and Spider-Man have always kind of had this weird synergy on the PS1, PS2, and then of course with the Sony published Spider-Man game on PS4. So you've now played Spider-Man. I believe you were playing it this weekend, if I read my Instagram right.
Yeah. Amanda was giving it a shot. We're trying to get her into something new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that game.
Yeah.
It's just immaculate. Like, it's not the most inventive open world or anything like that, but it is perfect. And it's so authentically Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That like I go back to it pretty often. Now, have you played the other two? Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 I played quite a bit of. Miles Morales I have not gotten the opportunity yet.
Yeah. It's good. It's really good. It's very focused. It's a shorter game. It's not very long. I think one of the achievements is beating it in under like 5 or 6 hours.
Wow.
Which is pretty easy. I did it my second playthrough, not really thinking about it. But it's more focused than the first one, and it's a good time. I love those. I'm very excited for Wolverine.
Yes.
I think that's going to be more of this, but different enough. And it's, I love the X-Men and all that. So hopefully you get some cool mutant stuff.
God, dude, I hope. I'm also excited for Wolverine.
I don't want Insomniac to just be the Marvel studio forever.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're killing it right now.
I mean, they are. They
are, right?
It's so good, man. I would have never dreamed that they could have done such a good job, honestly.
Yeah. I think the other big one of this kind of era we're talking about for me is God of War 2018.
Okay.
That is, and I think for you as a Last of Us fan, I honestly kind of think that's the place to start. Because it is what we're talking about, these more cinematic, kind of masterpiece level PlayStation games, I think God of War and Ragnarok, its sequel, are more of that kind of game than the original trilogy, which is still great, but it's a very different tone.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, they have this out for PC too, I'm pretty sure, right?
That's true. I think both of them, God of War and Ragnarok, are both.
I will PC. 100. It's only a matter of time. I've said this before, but it's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna love it. And
then I've talked about too. You gotta play Astrobot. I mean, the most Nintendo PlayStation game they've ever made. It's excellent. It pays such great homage to all of PlayStation's legacy with all the little bots and their costumes, and there's levels that pull directly from different PlayStation games. Like it's excellent. The last kind of talking point I had for this episode, obviously these big publishers, your Capcoms, your Square Enixes, even Nintendo, they have these iconic characters. That's part of what keeps them going, right? Do you think PlayStation has the roster of characters to go toe-and-toe with a Nintendo?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Do you think they even come close?
Well, should we give it a little shot here? Let's give it a shot. To be honest,
let's try. I mean, Sony tried their shot on the PS3 with PlayStation All Stars. They tried to make their own Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
it didn't go very well.
Fuck.
They had to pull a lot of third-party characters to fill that roster. I think the Big Daddy from BioShock is in there. They couldn't get Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, but that's okay.
I inherit my first reaction is to say they don't even come close, but I wonder. I mean, should we try? Like,
yeah, who to you is the most iconic PlayStation character?
Iconic. I mean, I would.
Iconic or best, whatever you want to go with.
Oh, let's stay with iconic because I don't want to say best yet, but I think iconic would have to be Crash or Spyro. I think to be honest with you, because like that's the lineage there. So like I would have to go with one of those two, or both would have to represent somehow. Yeah.
And they're such an interesting case, like they were Universal properties. Now they're actually owned by Xbox, but so they're such a weird thing. But you can't deny that those were the identity of the original PlayStation. So I definitely put that there. And then I think some of the other ones we mentioned. I think Lara Croft is in that conversation. I think Cloud is in there.
I think Lara Croft is probably up there with Crash and Spyro. Has to be.
Yeah,
that's like from the beginning.
I mean, it's always interesting to me because like I have no problem with Tomb Raider, none at all. But like Tomb Raider is always way more popular than I think it is.
Yeah,
like normies know Tomb Raider. And it had a massive movie. It had a much smaller movie too. Yeah. But it's weird. Normies like Tomb Raider a lot. I just kind of forget that.
I have to say, have you seen the Lara Croft movie? I think it's on Netflix.
I never saw the Angelina Jolie one.
No.
I did see the one that came out a decade ago.
Yeah, it's Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, I did see that one.
And like she's like racing on her bicycle at the beginning with the paint and the yeah. I actually love that movie.
I like it too. It's very close to the, I think 2013 reboot game they did.
Okay,
like story wise.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like that movie quite a bit.
It was good.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I think you're right with the so Laura, Spyro, Crash, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, so that's the first one that PlayStation actually owns. It's Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank.
We talked about.
Sackboy you mentioned.
Oh, Sackboy. He's a good one. I mean, Jak and Daxter. Right?
Jak and Daxter. There's your ice climbers.
Yeah. Ooh, what about Sly Cooper?
Oh shit, dude, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's when did you say you would play that like over the summer or something?
I think I wanted to. I never got around to it.
They
brought them to PS5 recently, and I have never played those.
I need to do it. Is Parappa the Rapper?
Yeah. Parappa's a great one.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yep. I love Parappa. That's excellent.
I might be running out of steam here.
Okay.
Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake. That's his name. Yeah.
Yep.
Nathan Drake. I mean, do we put him in? He's like a real guy.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think he's an iconic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Kratos, because we talked about God of War.
Kratos is excellent.
Literally the only God of War character I know the name of.
That's fine. I mean, the rest are Greek gods. I think you could probably
okay.
pull some out of your ass if you wanted to.
Okay.
Zeus and stuff. Well, and then I mean,
The Last of Us. I don't know. I was going Ellie and Joel, maybe.
Exactly.
But then we got more guys. Now we're just playing a fighter. You know what I mean? Where it's just got people on people.
That's okay.
It just feels. It doesn't, dude. It's. I feel like so when they put Snake in Smash.
Yeah.
That to me feels like Who Framed Roger Rabbit situation.
A little bit. Well, Sonic was I think the real one.
Well, but
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Where he's just a guy, a realistic looking guy.
Yeah, he's just a guy just fighting Mario. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
it's a weird circumstance. So I feel like now you got a gaggle of them amongst, all the other cartoon characters here, which is like fighting Spyro, like Nathan Drake. Just, I don't know, man.
Okay, so let's compare it. Let's take the top three that we mentioned.
What do
you think of the top three? I want to put Kratos up there. I think Kratos needs to be in there.
Dude, this just absolute unit of a man. Just pounding fucking like Crash, you know what I mean? Like wild. Yeah. That's wild business. Or Parappa.
So I like Parappa a lot too. Well, okay, so maybe it'd be easier to take what are Nintendo's top three, their best characters, or their most iconic, whatever.
Most iconic: Mario, Link.
Kind of think Mario, Link, Pikachu. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I was gonna say a Pokemon, but Pikachu. Yeah, Mario, Link, Pikachu.
Yeah. Okay, so we put them head to head with who?
Well, I mean, you can't do it like that,
and not in a fight necessarily. But I'm just talking like. Who is the better collection of characters here?
My goodness.
Because you're right. Kratos is going to rip Pikachu in half. We don't want that.
Yeah, man. That's wild,
Yeah.
So we're ranking them not in who would pulverize one another, but who is more iconic?
Yeah.
Well, fucking Mario, Link, and Pikachu, for sure.
I'm going to level with you. I love the guy, but Link's not exactly pulling his weight in that trio.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Link
just because he's never
anywhere near the level of Mario and Pikachu.
What? Come on.
Popularity-wise, no way.
You dude. My man's just going through the temples, hands in his pockets, real quiet, just facing some demons, like just because he doesn't talk a lot.
I bet if we pulled people on the street, we would find more people that knew who Lara Croft was than Link.
No way.
If we held up two pictures and asked them to name them. And to be fair, I know that there's kind of a cheat code on Link, I know. But I think the public knows Lara Croft better than they know
Which
Link.
Lara Croft? Are you showing Isosceles boobs or what are you showing?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would they know her by name, Lara Croft, or would they say Tomb Raider?
I think they would because... Kali has been playing the modern Tomb Raider games, and she doesn't call them Tomb Raider. She calls them Lara Croft. Like that is what she calls those games, and that I think the name has trounced the identity.
So, well, because that's the same thing with Link and Zelda. They'd be like, "Oh, it's Zelda," and you're like, "Oh, this is Tomb Raider," But like, at least Tomb Raider is Lara Croft. She is raiding tombs. She is the Tomb Raider. Okay. But I don't think that's true.
Okay. Well then here, I'm gonna make you even more mad. Okay. So if we're pumping the numbers with Lara Croft, then I want to put Spider-Man in our trio. Because I think Spider-Man's more popular than Mario.
Well, yes, Spider-Man is more popular than Mario. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Now we just need to beat Pikachu. That's all we need to do, which unfortunately is impossible.
So, man, that's actually a tough one.
Well, you brought up Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Can we get Mickey?
Well,
what's Mickey up to?
Man, oh man, that's wild. We got Mickey on the team. Yeah, that's crazy. What about Skylanders though? Couldn't Nintendo also recruit Mickey?
Well, Skyland, Disney Infinity, yeah. Skylanders is actually Spyro, but
oh,
yeah.
Well, Disney Infinity, whatever that is.
Yeah, but that was on everything.
So I feel like we gotta X out. Infinity. Disney doesn't count. We can't use Disney.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you're right. If we are just looking at PlayStation owned characters, yeah, it's a pretty one-sided fight. I do think Nintendo has the icons.
They have to, but hey, we should do a poll on Lara Croft and Link. I think
that would be a fun one. I'm curious. Let us know, in the comments if you who you think is more popular. Not necessarily your favorite, but if you believe Lara Croft from Tomb Raider or Link from The Legend of Zelda, could be any of them, is more popular. I believe it's Lara. Jordan believes it's Link. We'll see. But this has been interesting, talking PlayStation. Something we talk about all the time here on, what did I call it at the top? PlayStation with Power?
PlayStation with Power.
Yeah, I didn't really put a lot of thought into that, but it is what it is. But I think that's going to be it for us.
I think
today.
so.
We're kind of, I don't know where to go. We don't do this every week.
We've been talking about PlayStation for so long now. For 40, 58 for an hour, Yeah,
for an hour. We'll have to figure out something else to talk about next year. Something maybe we know a little better. I don't know. Maybe. Or worse. Maybe that's fun. I don't know. But until we do that, I've been Zachary Davis, and that's Jordan Carlson. And this has been PlayStation with Power. What do they always say? Live in your world, play in ours.
What?
That was their tagline.
Was their tagline? Live in ours.
I think so. Live in your world, play in ours.
Live our world, play in ours. Your world.
No, you live in your world. You're gonna play in the PlayStation world.